Hi, living in Boulder vlog. What day is it? I think it's the 15th, and it's Friday at 3:28 p.m. Turn comments back on for the children. So yeah, I got up late, like 1, and then I'm working, and then I decided to call my mom, and then I noticed that she called me. I think my buzzer's turned off. So I called her back, and then she answered, and I was like, hey, you want to go on a bike ride? She goes, no way, too cold. Then she goes, let's go to the gym. And I was like, oh, but we were supposed to not do that because wait until her vaccine kicks in. In like a month. She got her first shot like a week ago or 2 weeks ago or something. Next one's on February 6th, and it takes a week after that to kick in. They're only doing 70 aboves now for the vaccine, but then she's like, oh no, I already had it. She thinks she already had it, even though she took the test and it came negative. So yeah, she's gonna come. Hopefully she doesn't call me saying she's coming before I'm done with this video. Can't take too long. But she said she'd pick me up and we go to the gym. So yeah, that's cool. I haven't been up for a few days, so yeah. And I'm like, my shoulder was really hurting yesterday just from laying here. So yeah, that'd be cool. That's a good thing. Go to the gym. So, but yeah, the thing I've been doing, I was listening to Nature of Personal Reality, but I'm not done with it. Still listening to it. And then I'd listen to just do stuff on YouTube, but then just silence and stuff. Yeah, so I think I'm going to listen to that book. Yeah, and then I want to listen to that and then listen to videos about quantum mechanics and Wikipedia articles about quantum mechanics, and then listen to that book and see if I can make a connection. But I'm smoking a lot of weed. It's kind of making my brain not work that good. And I'm concentrating a lot on this. But yeah, it's interesting to listen to. I'll talk about that later. But yeah, it's crazy to listen to videos. It's entertaining. I mean, the news. But so the work that I'm doing is I'm tracing all of the roads in Boulder County, but not just Boulder County, also the mountains on the other side of the mountains here, because it's an awesome mountainside part, and it's right next to here, so I have to include it. And you can access it right over the Rollins Pass. So yeah, so that's a lot of territory. So this morning I finished doing the Grand Loop. It's this bike ride. I want to do like 1 day bike rides. And, oh yeah, and I did the Mount Evans too, because that's like the highest paved road in America. And that's a 1 day bike ride from here. I've never done it, but I want to do it. Yeah, and then lots of other trails. There's, look at a website. I can't remember what it's called, but it shows a trail. Have that one help me just, know where the trails are and what it's for. But I was just tracing just from sight right now. Yeah, before I was using Strava, but now I don't even need that. I'm just tracing everything. So I decided to trace everything in Boulder County and the mountains on the other side. So it's a lot. It's really interesting because I'm tracing the exact path of the trail, the exact width, like if a trail is 18 inches wide or a foot wide or whatever. In my tracing it, I'm like a meter. When I was doing tracing and I was curious to know what it was, so I measured it and it was 1.1 meter. Or 1.2 meters. So wide. So and also, when you're going up the hill, if it's too wide, if it's more than like a meter wide, the earth pokes through and it doesn't look right. So you have to, make it narrow for that, and also not have the dots too far apart. I just hold the button down, and but sometimes the computer gets tired, and it can't make the buttons fast enough as I'm dragging. And so then I have to like re-drag or redo the buttons because our earth pokes through. That's when I was working on the the Flatirons, because I'm doing every single trail. I'm doing paved road, dirt road, and I think I'll color code it later. So I'm not even organizing it. I'm just going whatever. I'll organize it later. I'm just dragging it, just tracing it now. It's fascinating to look at because I'm zooming in so much on everything, getting excited. And just to know where all the trails are and to know what they're for, like what you can go on them with. Is going to be illuminating and really interesting to look at. I always wanted to have something like this. I thought I kind of had something like this when I built the trips that I want to do just with the line tool, and then like climbing routes with the line tool. But line tool doesn't do it. And besides, when I was doing it with the line tool, when you do it with the line tool, you don't have to. You're not committed to being perfect because you don't have to come back the other way, And when you do a really bad job, then and you're gonna do it like with a trail where there's two sides of it, and you do a really bad job, it's gonna look really bad, and also it's not gonna work because like if you're on a steep part, the earth is just gonna poke through. So doing it with the polygon where you have to come up and back is like motivates you to do it perfectly. I mean, to the tree, to the meter. And you can actually see, even though a lot of the time, the forest gets too thick, but so you kind of have to guess. But I was also tracing along the Google Earth when you hit the roads tab. Shows you the roads, but also trails. And but the Google Earth person who traced it, they didn't do it like how I did, where you just hold down the mouse and then it just traces over like in a. And it's beautiful too when you get into a groove and you get into a rhythm, and you just I get good at just directing the mouse with your shoulder. Just make the arm totally straight, and just direct the mouse with your shoulder. You can just come down and go fast too, and come down. The computer has to be working well when you do it, but come down and just it's very natural because like how a trail is, it's just with the curves. So that's how you do it with the curves. But if you just click, 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 which is sometimes how I did it before, it's actually, it doesn't look natural. It doesn't look good. And that's how the person with Google Earth did it. They just go click, 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 and, I could click every 100 meters or something, and a lot of the time, half the time, it's 100 meters off the actual course. So I use Google Earth, but I only trace them when I like can't see anything, and I just have to guess. So it's great knowing that they have the trace, that they have it on there in Google Earth, though. But once you get it done, I mean, I'm looking at it right now from, 10.82 miles up. And I can see the trails beautifully. I can't see like the exact width, but because the way the polygon tool works is you have filler and you have lines, and so when you get really far up, you see the line, but then when you get closer, you can see them separate and you see the filler, and so it seamlessly works beautifully, and it's so crispy, the polygon tool, so it works great when you're far away as well as when you're close. And when it's going over the mountain, you can see it like it actually helps you see the curvature of the mountain and the steepness of the mountain. After I do a lot of these, I think I'm going to actually, it's going to be a big project, but I'm going to retrace them again with the line tool so that I can know what the data is, because the line tool, you go right click, show elevation profile, gives you everything, shows you the whole profile across the screen and the data, average slope, max slope, vertical, how far it was, and then you can drag along and it shows where it is, and so yeah, it's great to have that. And then you can do right click, make movie, and then it makes a movie out of it that you can then have for download and then make a YouTube video out of it. So and some of them, but not that doesn't really work well for me doing videos if you're really up close, but because Google Earth isn't isn't developed enough to adjust all that. I have seen it adjusted, but then it went away a long time ago. Anyway, we're going to be over 10 minutes. Anyway, so one part of the thing that I was doing was last night that was really interesting. That was the Flatirons, because I'm tracing the trails, but not just trails. I'm tracing like little off-trail trails. Or creating my own trails. I want to make the Flatirons like this whole world that you can adventure around. That's just huge, you know. Not just the Flatirons where you go and you walk around the designated trail. It's like, okay, whatever, that's small or whatever, that's cool, but it's not like a whole world. But if you go up all at it off trail and up the different things, just be legal in season where you're not in like the peregrine falcon or whatever habitat from like May 20th to July 31st or whatever. But or you know, or if they get unreasonable and they just make it off limits forever, then you just do it, I guess, at night on the full moon. But yeah, I mean, you just do like trails up between each Flatiron needs to be a trail, and a lot of these between Flatiron areas, it's just a patch of trees that's just wide enough to, if you go through the trees, you've got a couple trees on your left, couple trees on your right, and that's it. But so it's like you're in the trees, but you're surrounded on both sides on like really steep cliffs, and then it's different. Like in a lot of places, it's blood red. The rocks up there, like on the top of the first Flatiron, the earth is, and then there's this veins, you know, because the Flatirons are these layers that are turned on their side. And so there are these different layers, geological layers from different time periods that are different colors. So it's like these different trails you go up between the Flatirons, you know, it's like these different colors, different rocks you're going up. There's lots of really magical places up there. You know, I remember when I'm a kid going up exploring up in the Flatirons, you know, and you just kind of stumble across some amazing, like, little canyon you're hiking up on the Flatirons. Like, what the hell? Where is this? Where am I? This is amazing. This is like magical. And you're like, where was that? You know what I mean? It's like this. It's this like maze, this like labyrinth that is like mystical, like and mysterious. So I just wanted to like demystify and make it actually do the polygon tool on all of the trails, because you can. The amazing thing about Boulder with Google Earth is the detail is so good here, you know, and also with the you know, not only with the 3D buildings that they built all over the place, but also the details. So you can look in and zoom in and find a trail. It's like you can find a trail just as well with Google Earth as you can with if you're actually there hiking around. So yeah, I'm here just like picking out trails, finding trails, and also little magical little campsites and picnic areas that people find. There's these little patches of dirt up on the top of the Flatiron. There's like, oh my God, I want to go there. And so you make the trail through there, and I was just spending time, yeah, so I want to make sure that every single, and then of course make it connected like a spider web, and then so when you zoom out, it's just this huge park, gigantic hiking park is what it is. Only what it is this steep ass park of mountains. I mean, you're talking 90-degree. Because I looked at this one thing and it's had grass on it, you know, there were trees around it. And I'm like, you know, there's trees at the beginning and trees at the end, but on this grassy area between the Flatirons, I'm like, so how steep is that? It was 91 feet, and it was 100 feet, and stretch with the line tool I'm looking at, and it was 91 degrees. 91 degrees. I'm like, is that like, can you hike up that? Oh my God. Like, yeah, so it's like serious hardcore freaking rock climbing that's just within the limits of like doability, you know? You don't want too many people at once going up that, because you knock rocks down on top of people. But luckily, there aren't like huge rocks so you can knock down too many around there. But I mean, I remember having dreams. You know, that's a place you have dreams about. I remember I had one dream about the Flatirons where I was like, I try to hike them up. You know, and when you have dreams about places, it's real places, but it's always different. And in my dreams, it's different, but it's bigger. And so I'm here hiking up in Flatirons, and everything's just like it's slightly rearranged, but the Flatirons are huge, they're really steep, you know, but it's kind of like it is now, you know, like you're trying to hike up this rock face and there's trees around you and you're climbing up, and it's like hairy, but